and Oklahoma ranks among the top 5 states when it comes to mastering the art of artificial limbs.
You were still very calm and collective, and the players seem to really respond to that. Is that all by design?
And she's coached at USC with Lisa Leslie and Tina Thompson, and even in the WNBA with Bridget Pettis.
You hit a couple of big shots in the fourth quarter to help your team go up for the lead. What did that feel like, and what was going through your head? Well, you started off with a lot of momentum, and you were up by 6 moving into the second quarter, and I heard you telling your guys to really stick to the plan. What was the plan going into the second half?
Cowgirl head coach Chris Young watched his team finish 21 this past season, the highest ranking since 2001.
What was your message to them about being energized, because they really picked up the momentum in that second quarter? 18 points, 14 rebounds. Can you tell us what was the secret to that successful performance we just saw? You had a chance to win with about 2 seconds left, and this last inbounds play over here, we want to know what you drew up.
Antler Vision students live stream an average of 1 to 2 sporting events a week, and they are hoping with more people and more experience, they will soon be covering a variety of sports.
And as far as your dad, I know he liked to say the 3 B's, books, Bible, and basketball.
No boys in that.
No boys.
No boys.
Now when we return, an Oklahoma sound with an international flair.
It's a long way from the lights of Los Angeles to the lonely prairie of Langston, Oklahoma. A journey basketball legend Cheryl Miller says she's glad she made.
The 2 years of trying to get back into women's basketball was the best thing that ever happened to me.
A 4-time All-American and 2-time national champion, Miller led Team USA to an Olympic gold.
Winning an Olympic medal in Los Angeles and having your family watch, that's probably my greatest achievement.
She became a Hall of Famer, transitioning into sports broadcasting.
That's snatching somebody's heart.
Yet despite her list of accomplishments, when she tried to return to coaching, her dreams were shot down.
It was the most humbling, gut-wrenching, confusing, depressing time of my life. And to hear irrelevant, no, to knock on doors that aren't answered, phone calls that aren't returned. In our life, we need to be knocked down a peg. We need to experience what a lot of people feel is their daily life. I'll speak for myself. I got to a point where I felt that I was untouchable, that there was something Teflon about me, and this experience, like I said, was very humbling.
So she reached out to an old friend, her former athletic director at USC.
From a male role model, my dad's the end-all be-all, and right there is Mike Garrett. Just a man of character, substance, knowledge of just life. And he was my sounding board for 2 years where I'm like, Mike, I can't get hired. I said, I can't even get a sniff. And he's like, just be patient.
And she was, until she picked up the phone and it was Garrett on the line.
So I was at Magic Mountain hanging out with friends, and he said, are you ready to coach? And I said, yeah, I've been telling you that for the last 2 years. And I said, where? He said, here at Langston.
To the one and only Cheryl Miller.
I knew if she got here and she started coaching the way she is, that the young ladies will only grow and get better as basketball players and certainly as young women.
Prior to Miller coming to Langston, the Lady Lions lost 10 games in 2013, but this year qualified for the national tournament. Lessons Miller learned in her own driveway with her little brother, NBA great Reggie Miller.
We're always competitive, and the advantage that Reggie always had was his mouth. I mean, I couldn't out-talk him. I mean, the guy just drove me nuts, so the best way to shut him up, obviously, was to beat him. But, you know, to this day, there's nothing friendly about even playing, you know, a pickup game of horse. You know, it's always competitive. At, you know, 100 years old, we're still trying to beat one another.
I know sometimes you and Reggie would have games on the same night, and your dad would go with you and your mom would go with him.
I always felt that Reggie got the better end of the deal. because he had my mom. My mom was a tremendous cheerleader, and she wasn't critical. But my dad, on the other hand, decent cheerleader, very critical. So he was always the one taking me to my games and watching it. There's something about having, whether it's one parent or two parents, supporting you. That's probably what I miss the most now that my mom's not here, is the second or the biggest transition of my life, you know, coming back to women's basketball, coming back to coaching. And wow, I didn't think I was going to get emotional about her not being here. But I know she's here. She's always with me. But yeah, that's the missing part right now in my life, is my mom not being here. Every day you roll out of bed, make a better you. Be a better you. And try to impact somebody. And you're going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but you got to learn from them, and more importantly, you got to admit it. Be woman enough to say, you know what, hey, I messed up. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done that. And that's going to be lasting. That's life lessons. And once the basketball and life are like this, the sky's the limit.
Well, Coach Miller seems like she has quite the personality.
She's definitely animated, but don't let that fool you, because she's about the business when it comes to basketball.
But she really acts like she likes her players.
She does, and she even spoke about one of her players, senior Lynette Holmes, and said that she could be one of the best players that she's ever coached. And she's coached at USC with Lisa Leslie and Tina Thompson, and even in the WNBA with Bridget Pettis. So for her to say that Lynette Holmes could be one of the best players that she's ever coached was really impressive to me.
So how did the Lady Lions season, how did it finish up?
Well, they started out undefeated, and then they won their conference tournament and made it to the NAIA Division I National Tournament, and they made it to the Sweet 16 in that, and then they finished up with a record of 28-4. And I just really think that their success this season reflects her coaching style.
Which her coaching style kind of extends to even when you do an interview with her, right?
Right. She even coached me a little bit. She helped me out with my jumper, so that was helpful.
All right. Thank you so much, Courtney.
You're welcome.
Now, if you'd like to see Cheryl Miller's basketball tips to the best 5'6" shooting guard on our set today, just head over to okhorizon.com to see our Courtney Maye get schooled by the very best.
I've done this since I was about 4 years old, and you're doing twice as good a job as I ever did.
It's show day in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And for students like Jessica, it's time to show their talents.
He's soft. Do you think he's soft? There he goes.
Come on, Jesse, let's go catch up with him.
And with help from members of the Alpha Gamma Rho fraternity, local students with special needs are given the opportunity to shine.
We invite the kids from Stillwater Public Schools, the special needs kids, to come out here and show these animals. Gives them opportunity to have a hands-on experience that a lot of us grew up with, but a lot of times these kids never had the opportunity to. But it also allows us to promote agriculture.
Give me a high five for that one.
Students are able to show pigs, sheep, and goats provided by Stillwater FFA. And with a goal other than winning in mind, special needs instructor Beth Helm is confident they have achieved it.
It brings out a lot in these kids, a lot of kids that are nonverbal, a lot of kids that have problems sitting down and stuff. Animals have a really interesting effect on students with disabilities, and we've seen that more and more.
Much like the relationship Jessica has with the pig she named Pritz. Driving Pritz around the ring while giving him a pep talk. A people-animal bond that has an everlasting effect.
A lot of them will come out of their shell, they'll even try to talk a little bit, they'll show a little more emotion towards animals. They just make them feel really comfortable.
And Helm says many of her students leave the livestock show wanting to join an agriculture education class, a field trip that could introduce some students to their future, while rewarding to the members of Alpha Gamma Rho.
It builds a lot of professionalism and things that these guys are going to take away and use whenever we get out of school in the real world.
An opportunity that makes everyone a winner.